All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for waiting patiently for the intro to finish up. I really don't know exactly how I sound. I'll just give you guys a quick little update on my voice and how I'm feeling. Do I sound better? Good. It's strange because I feel like I sound really weird, but if I sound better, then that's what matters. So the only thing I discovered I still can't do is do any high-pitched sounds. If I try to get higher pitched, my voice will just immediately crack and it'll be awkward. So yeah, I'm feeling better today overall. Still haven't kicked this thing 100%. It's taken its good old time. I'm assuming I'll just continue to get a little bit better each day. My voice will get better each day. I just really hope that my voice is back to 100%. If there is a PlayStation Showcase this upcoming week, saying this voice suits me, okay, good. I can work with that. I can definitely work with that. So, yeah, had to cut yesterday's stream a little bit short, but it seems like you guys overall did enjoy that stream, which made me happy. That's all that really matters. So I'm glad it still turned out to be a good to decent stream for all of the viewers. And today we are back with actually 3 topics. Okay, now the main topic is the one you see in the title and in the thumbnail. We are talking about the fact that in the last 24 hours, rumors ignited rapidly of a new Sly Cooper game. And all throughout my stream yesterday, I had people coming in saying, like, did you hear about the new Sly Cooper? I hear there's a new Sly Cooper rumor. And so today what we're going to do is we are going to clear up what's actually going on. What is Sucker Punch Productions actually working on? Can we expect a new Sly Cooper? Can we expect a Ghost of Tsushima 2? And yeah, we're going to cover that. But, and I'll probably also just gush about Ghost of Tsushima as well, if you guys don't mind. But we also are covering another rumor that popped up in the last 24 hours. And this one was very interesting because it's kind of up in the air right now. We don't know what it really is. But there's this rumor of some kind of Horizon Lego collaboration, and there seems to be insinuation that it may actually be a Horizon Lego game. But it's just a rumor, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not convinced it's a Lego Horizon game. But this is what people are thinking. We have yet to get actual clarification on this, but we're going to cover that. And a bigger topic that we're also going to cover that just came out today as well. And I was unsure as to whether or not I wanted to lead with this topic, but I decided maybe not to because, I don't know, it seems to me like Square was always, not always, but they were already on the path to this. But anyway, Square Enix announces their aggressive multi-platform plan. And as you may have assumed, this has led to, people jumping to conclusions and making assumptions as to, why this is happening. So I want to go over that news with you and let you know what's going on there and give my thoughts on it. So, guys, before we get into any of these topics and these discussions, yeah, exactly, Irfan. Yeah, I need my voice to be 100%. So when I need the scream showcase it's happening, or when there's a big reveal, I can scream without my voice cracking and sounding like a teenager going through puberty. Certainly. But before we dive into any of these topics and any of these discussions, I want to once again just thank everybody for being here. If you're watching live, big shout out to you guys. I know not everybody can catch the streams live, so if you're somebody who watches later, thank you. I really appreciate that viewership. I also want to ask you guys, as we are sitting at 75 likes, to please hit that like button. I'm telling you, listen, you guys have been doing a great job hitting that like button. on all of the recent streams, and it has helped the streams significantly. So for everybody who's here or for everybody who's watching later on, take a second of your time, hit that like button. It's the easiest way you can help the streams and help grow this community. Now, there are 3 ways you can support this channel and this content directly. I am fan funded. Okay. I rely on you guys and your support, your direct support, to be able to do this, to be able to do these streams, to produce videos, to produce content nearly every day. I rely on you. So there are 4 ways actually you can support. Number 1, consider becoming a channel member. You gain access to exclusive perks. 2 of those perks, I would say the most significant ones, access to the members lounge. It's an exclusive place where me and the members hang out and certainly have some interesting discussions. The second, I would say the second most appealing reason to become a channel member is you now get exclusive community posts. So those are the 2 reasons to become a channel member. Way number 2, if you are already a channel member, consider gifting memberships. Really goes a long way. And also consider maybe donating a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement. It all helps tremendously. The 4th way is there is a link pinned in the stream at the top of the stream. If you want to donate directly to the channel, that's a way for you to do that. 100% of the donation goes to the content creator. So that's just another viable option for you. So before we move any further, again, just a big thank you to all of you who make this possible. All right. So we are going to dive into the first major topic here, which is a Ghost of Tsushima sequel is confirmed by what I would consider to be the most reliable insider in the video game industry. And this individual also shut down the rumors that started to circulate of a Sly Cooper game. The dude, you're saying the title is weird. We all knew Ghost 2 was coming. Well, I'm glad you mentioned this, the dude, because I'm going to tell you why this is the topic of discussion today. Saying my voice is pretty much, it's weird. You're saying my voice is pretty much back. It doesn't feel that way. Like maybe it's in my head. I feel like I sound so different and strange, but I'm glad that it doesn't seem to be coming over that way to you guys. Better than yesterday. Good. So let's go over this news. This is a write-up from Push Square. Speculation of a second game in production at... hold on. Let me try this again. Speculation of a second game in production at Ghost of Tsushima Studios Sucker Punch Productions, tied to the late Sly Cooper series, has been doing the rounds this weekend, but none of it is actually true. Alongside the presumed follow-up to the developer's samurai hit, Jeff Grubb of Giant Bomb suggested the team may have another title in the works, though it wasn't based on discussions with sources. It was simply a, quote, pie-in-the-sky proposal. This did not stop the internet from picking up the offhand comment as a proper rumor, though, leading to suggestions Sucker Punch Productions actually does have a new Sly Cooper title in the works. Bloomberg journalist Jason Schreier has now weighed in on the speculation, and this is what he said. So the rumor was really pushed heavily on X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay, and this is why I think it is important to cover this, and I think this is why quite a few people were coming into my stream yesterday saying, "Did you hear about this new Sly Cooper game?" A lot of people took what Jeff Grubb said. And Jeff Grubb put out a dedicated, I think, 12 or 10-minute video yesterday where he was giving updates on all these different things. And one of the things Jeff Grubb said was, and if you listen to him closely, he did mostly make it clear that it was speculation. He said that, pie in the sky, maybe there's a Sly Cooper, maybe that's something Sucker Punch is working on. However, I don't think Jeff Grubb is 100% entirely innocent here. And I have a reason for this. If you listen to his video, and I might be splitting hairs here, but I do think that this explains why people ran with this as a potential rumor. If you listen to Jeff Grubb's video yesterday, he says it's pie in the sky, it's speculation, and he even warns about writing headlines and stuff. So there is that. But then he alludes to rumors. This is what caught my attention and why I understand why some people ran with it, because he said that there are rumors out there. He didn't say that he heard it from his sources. He said there are rumors of a potential new Sly Cooper game and that there's been rumblings going on. And I think he even said something like, where there's smoke, there might be fire. And I think this was a mistake because, well, I pay very close attention to this stuff, and I haven't seen any Sly Cooper rumors. In fact, the last time I heard of a Sly Cooper rumor was back in 2022, when I think all throughout 2021 and 2022, there was this lingering rumor that a Sly Cooper game was being made. But Sucker Punch on July 1st, 2022, they put out a blog post where they were celebrating their 25th anniversary, and they specifically said, quote, "With our focus on our current project, we have no plans to revisit Infamous or Sly Cooper right now, and no other studio is currently working on projects related to those franchises either." So this is what Sucker Punch said in, again, July of 2022, completely shutting down any notion of a Sly Cooper game being in the works. Now, granted, some time has passed, but that's what perplexed me, is Jeff Grubb made it sound like there were these persistent rumors. I haven't heard anything for the past year and a half. So, I'm not fully blaming him. I'm just saying I think this is why people ran with this and took it as, we know you said it's pie in the sky. We know you said not to write articles, but you're talking about Sly Cooper rumors and it may be showing up at the showcase. And so if you go on Twitter, if you go on X, so many people were posting that, oh man, it seems like it might happen. Jeff Grubb speculating, Jeff Grubb saying, and this led to Jason Schreier coming out and quote tweeting Pio at Mr. Pio1 on Twitter. He says, "Rumor, the reason why Ghost of Tsushima 2 is taking longer than expected is because Sucker Punch is working on a new Sly Cooper game." And Jason Schreier quote tweets this and says, quote, "No truth to this one. Sorry to say. Sucker Punch is a one-project studio. The reason Ghost of Tsushima 2 isn't out yet is because AAA video games now take 5 to 7 years to make. Also, Sucker Punch is smaller than most other AAA game developers." End quote. So, when Jason Schreier, he rarely gets involved with stuff like this, and it's worth noting that Jason Schreier did clarify that he wasn't trying to dunk on Jeff Grubb or anything. He was just acknowledging that a lot of people were running with this, and he wanted to just clear up the misinformation and clarify that, look, there just is no Sly Cooper in development. And I think it is true that pretty much everybody was under the assumption, and we even have multiple job listings pretty much flat out confirming that a Ghost of Tsushima sequel has been and is in the works. I think everybody's anticipating that we're going to be hearing about this game in the not too distant future. And so this really just I think the timing of this is also what caught so many people off guard. I think it's the fact that the expectation right now is a Sony showcase might be coming, and there's a really good chance Ghost of Tsushima 2 might be there. And then out of nowhere, you start seeing people talking about Sly Cooper. And it also almost seemed to hint, there was almost like a hint of Ghost of Tsushima is behind schedule, or it's taking too long, or something along those lines. And it's no, it seems to be on track. These days we do know that big AAA video games take anywhere between 5 and 7 years to fully develop. And we know that Sucker Punch is going all in with Ghost of Tsushima 2. So I have no doubt that this game is going to be at the earliest a 2026 game. Hopefully not anything beyond. Hopefully it doesn't go to 2027. That would be kind of nuts. But I'm thinking 2026. And so my thoughts on this, guys, let me tell you. It's no offense to Sly Cooper, and it's no offense to Sly Cooper fans. I actually don't have much experience with Sly Cooper at all, but I'm kind of glad that this was clarified, because the more I started seeing this rumor spread and more people talking about it, and I'm like, is there something actually to this? I was actually relieved when I saw Jason Schreier say, like, guys, no, like they're working on Ghost of Tsushima. There is no slide. Like, I almost got nervous that I was going to go into the PlayStation Showcase this year, whenever it happens, super excited, expecting a Ghost of Tsushima sequel reveal, and then just to see a new Sly Cooper game, which I know a lot of people would be through the roof excited. I understand that, and I respect that. Again, it's no disrespect towards the fan base or that game. And hopefully Sony does do something with it in the future, because I know people really want to see it come back. But man, I won't lie, I definitely would have been deflated and be like, damn, dude, like I would have been sitting there like, where's Ghost, bro? Like, where's Ghost of Tsushima? And I definitely would have been a little bit worried that if we got Sly Cooper announced at the showcase instead of a new Ghost of Tsushima, I would have been very worried that, oh man, like, is this what they chose to prioritize over a new Ghost? Sounds like I'm under the weather. Yeah, again, guys, in the chat, if you see anybody come in and saying something about how I sound, just let them know that I am getting over a virus and my voice is a little screwed. Why not both? That's a great question. I think we can get both. I just, as Jason Schreier points out here, I just don't think we could get both from Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch said in 2022 that they don't have any games in the Sly Cooper series or Infamous series in the works at any other studio. So, is it possible in the last year and a half that something was greenlit? Maybe. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility, but I view Sly Cooper the same way I view Killzone, in that I think Sony just moved on. I think Sony's teams wanted to move on, and I think Sony said okay, and their teams found even more success with the new games that they moved on to. So I think it's just one of these things where it's like, it's there, and nobody's saying it can never come back, but I just don't think it's happening anytime soon. I'm doing well, Anonymous Balls. I'm doing better. Thank you for asking. And so, to me, this is relatively more exciting because I also think that we should acknowledge that Jason Schreier seemingly confirmed, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is in development. Now, look, I'm not saying get hype, holy shit, crazy leak. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it seems to be an open secret by this point in time that that's absolutely what they're working on, and that reveal is coming relatively soon. I would have loved if Jason Schreier could have given us a little bit more info, just a little tease, maybe kind of throw in there like, hey, maybe, just maybe, Ghost of Tsushima 2 will show up at the PlayStation Showcase, or maybe it's going to be announced soon. But either way, it was kind of nuts to see how quickly people took what Jeff Grubb said. And I kind of got this feeling when I was watching that Jeff Grubb video. I'm like, man, he's trying really hard to delineate between this is what I've heard from my sources and this is seemingly a leak versus this is just me speculating and this is just what I think. And it seemed like at certain points in that video, those two things got a little too blended and mixed. And I think that's always a dangerous thing when you're talking about an individual who is an established, known insider who gives insider information. I think that you have to make it crystal clear. You have to, say it like 5 times, because that's just the way it is on the internet, man. 5 times. This is just my thought, my own hope, my own desire. This is not inside info. This is not a leak. This is not a report. Insiders do have to absolutely put massive emphasis on that. Can we blame the internet for being a little bit stupid? Yeah, for sure. But that's the nature of the beast. I think a lot of people understood that they're really, this is not confirmation of a Sly Cooper game. But when a lot of people are being exposed to others who are taking advantage of this, was like, oh, I can get some views, I can get some clicks, whatever it might be. I do think that it's very important for people in these positions to be crystal clear. And that's why, again, I am thankful that Jason Schreier did this, because it could have been bad. I feel like if Jason Schreier didn't chime in, this would have been a rumor that lingered all the way up until the potential PlayStation showcase. And I think a lot of people maybe would have went into that showcase setting themselves up for major disappointment, thinking that, oh man, finally Sly Cooper's coming back. Let's go, baby. And it's like nowhere to be found. People, I think, would have definitely been upset. Oh, I'm sorry about that. You thought I was talking about a studio shutting down. No. People are always misinterpreting everything. Yeah. These days, certainly, it's very easy to do that, and I try not to fault people too much for it. But I think you just got to be a little careful. I get ahead of myself sometimes too. I think it's also a little bit of like people hear what they want to hear, and like if I was a massive Sly Cooper fan, and I've been dying to see Sony bring Sly Cooper back, do something with this character and this IP, I can honestly say that, yeah, I probably would have been on that hopium, where I would have been like, damn. So you're, insert Dumb and Dumber meme, like, so you're saying there's a chance, Dan, you're saying you don't know anybody who's a massive Sly fan. Well, I also want to point this out too. I'm not saying that sales success is always the be all end all indicator of what's happening next. That's not always true, but if you're looking for a little bit of guidance, taking a look at how well Ghost of Tsushima has done for Sucker Punch and for Sony, I thought that the moment they announced it sold 10 million units, I think it sold 10 million units in like a year and a half or 2 years or something like that. I knew like, oh yeah, this is a massive franchise. Absolutely. Like Ghost of Tsushima is now a staple franchise for PlayStation going forward. And it's going to remain that way as long as it continues to climb. And when I heard that they were making a movie, yeah. When they brought the PS5 port over, and then even now it's releasing on PC, all this stuff tells me that like Sucker Punch is all in with Ghost of Tsushima. And I mean, we talk about getting another Sly Cooper. I've seen a lot of people say, hey, what about another Infamous? Hey, I'm in agreement. A new Infamous would be amazing. I mean, imagine what a new AAA Infamous game would look like running on PS5 or PS5 Pro hardware. That would be insane. But at the same time, Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games ever. And there's a reason for that. I think it's because Sucker Punch really did a lot of things very, very well with Ghost of Tsushima. And I remember with Days Gone, not to just do a hard pivot there, but I remember with Days Gone, one of the things that I walked away from with that game, knowing that I enjoyed it, and I know many of you did too, Days Gone was an awesome game, and I thought that some of the gameplay mechanics were phenomenal, specifically with the Freak rewards. I thought that, man, this is crazy, and I thought, what kind of potential does that, or does this game as a whole have, knowing this is the first game they're making just like this? What can you do with a sequel on PS5 from the ground up? And that never happened. That's not going to happen. And that was a gut punch, knowing that, man, a Days Gone sequel is not something that's going to happen seemingly ever. I mean, I don't know if it's ever, but not anytime remotely soon. Certainly not on PS5. And that was a letdown. But then Ghost of Tsushima the next year, right? And one of the things I walked away from Ghost of Tsushima with the same thought process of, holy shit, this game was amazing. And this was at the end of the PS4's life cycle. Man, what are they going to do? Like, what is Sucker Punch really going to be able to do with the sequel to this game built from the ground up on the PS5? And honestly, by the time it comes out, the PS5 Pro. And I think that there's a lot more they can do. I think that there are, I mean, obviously, you're going to see a major major graphical improvements. I think Ghost of Tsushima might be one of these games that is showed off on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and they're like, or shown off, not showed off. I said that wrong. It's going to be shown off on the PS5 Pro, and Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to be one of those games where it's like, hey guys, Mark Cerny basically wanted to go crazy with ray tracing with this console, so here's Ghost of Tsushima 2. Here's some of the craziest ray tracing you'll ever see. I think that might be something they try to pull off with a game like Ghost of Tsushima because I think it fits, right? But obviously, I want to see improvements in the gameplay. I want to see improvements in... Honestly, I would say with Ghost of Tsushima, the world was pretty dynamic. It wasn't the most dynamic world I've ever played, but it was pretty dynamic in different ways. And you could tell that was something that Sucker Punch really tried to put focus on. But I think given how much time they have to develop the sequel, given how much more powerful the PS5 and the PS5 Pro is going to be compared to the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, and given how much more experience they have now, I think one of the things I'm going to be looking for with Ghost of Tsushima 2 is seeing how much more dynamic and lively the world is going to be, assuming it's going to be open world. And these are all, and also enemy AI, stuff like that. Not to say that it was bad in the first game, but you know, it definitely could have been a little bit better. The game wasn't perfect. It did have some flaws. And these are all areas that, again, I think when you talk about Sucker Punch not being the biggest AAA studio in the world, I think somebody said they have like 160 employees there. You consider that, you know, they're a team of maybe 160, 170 developers. They're shooting for the stars here, you know? They shot for the stars, I would say, with Ghost of Tsushima, and they succeeded. Now they get to go beyond that. It's going to take time. It's not going to be easy, and they're going to have to put everything into that. Could they go for some RPG elements? It's a great question. I don't know. I think they got to be careful with that, right? I think they have to be careful because I think one of the biggest complaints that people have these days is specifically for sequels to big AAA games. I think a lot of AAA developers fall into a trap of like, well, if we just add some RPG mechanics, it'll feel like we're adding a lot more to the game. When in reality, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, technically you are, but I don't know that it really suits the game as well as you think. I don't know that this is what people had in mind when they were thinking about improvements. However, could they add some very minor, almost superficial RPG aspects? Yeah, they could, and I think it could be fine, but I think they should be careful because, you know, when I think of Ghost of Tsushima, I'm definitely not thinking RPG elements. Not to say again like that they couldn't do that. It's, you know, it's interesting, honestly, and I don't know how I'm forgetting this. If you look at Ghost of Tsushima Legends, that's literally what that is. I don't know why it took me this long, considering I put like 40 hours in the Ghost of Tsushima Legends. That is literally what Ghost of Tsushima looks like as an RPG, or like with RPG elements. So I'm going to say, considering that, maybe they add a little bit, you know, maybe they add just a little bit, maybe like an armor rating or something, or like, I don't know, maybe as you progress through the game and you unlock new swords and stuff, maybe some of them do more damage or have certain abilities or something like that. I imagine these are the different areas that they're going to explore to flesh out the game more, but I just think that there's so much that Sucker Punch can and will do with this sequel that I'm not surprised that they're not working on a second project. In fact, if knowing that Sucker Punch is certainly not the biggest PlayStation studio, I would have been a little bit concerned if they were working on 2 games at one time. I would have been concerned because I would have been like, does this mean Ghost of Tsushima is going to come much later than we expected? You know, we're not talking about Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog has, I think, 400 plus employees. Yeah, that's a team that can easily, at all times, be working on multiple projects. 400 plus devs? Absolutely. But like 150? Yeah, no, it's either going to be 2 small projects or 1 AAA project. And so, yeah, this is something that I'm hoping that going forward, I won't see much more discussion about in the terms of like, oh, did you hear about that Sly Cooper rumor because it was hard watching that yesterday when I did watch Jeff Grubb's video, and I was like, man, I think people completely misunderstood. Either they completely misunderstood or they just heard what they wanted to hear. Because it was kind of crazy to see how quickly it kind of caught fire and started to escalate. Realism is stagnating the industry. That's an interesting take. I will say, I don't know that I expect Ghost of Tsushima to lean into the realism aspect more than it already has. I think it has a good balance where some aspects of Ghost of Tsushima feel somewhat realistic, but a lot of it does feel gaming, like feels like a video game, and you could tell it's a video game, and I'm cool with that. I think that that's a good balance. I think they have a good balance. You know what I'm interested in too, talking about? Yeah, I was about to say that, Irfan, like the animations. I really wonder what they're going to go for here, animation wise, because I don't think the animations in Ghost of Tsushima were bad. They certainly weren't bad, but they weren't like what we would consider top tier, most realistic, most fluid in all cases. And I know for a fact there will be improvements made to the animations of a Ghost of Tsushima sequel, but I wonder if they're going to try to fundamentally change at all how the game feels, right? I think that's when we talk about animation work, I think that's really kind of what it comes down to is usually animations, at least when when you're playing as a character, the animation work can impact very much so and does impact how it feels to play the game. And I always kind of felt like Ghost, it kind of had that, it straddled that line between again, wanting to be somewhat realistic, but also understanding we're a video game. We're really not trying to replicate realism in real life here. I think they're going to continue down that road. When do I think the showcase is coming? Any week now, man. I don't think it's happening this week. Just to give you an update, I think here are the two dates. I think it's either going to happen on Thursday, May 23rd, or Thursday, May 30th. I think it's one of those two dates. I don't think it's coming any sooner than the 23rd. So could the announcement happen this week? Maybe, but Sony usually likes to keep their announcements relatively close to when their shows drop. So I'm thinking either the last Thursday or the second to last Thursday of the month. But oh God. My son is out there screaming for some reason. He has been screaming a lot lately. I think he's sick too. I notice that's what happens when little MBG gets sick. He is not a happy camper. He's very vocal about it. I feel like he stole my voice, bro. I don't know how he's able to maintain those loud screams without missing a beat there. But yeah, if you hear any background noise, that's what you're hearing. More weapons, customization, and cosmetics is all I ask for. Yeah, I think we're absolutely getting all that. Specifically, the more weapons thing. Playing Rise of the Ronin, I will say, for all the similarities that were pointed out, where Rise of the Ronin, it's very similar to, in a lot of ways to Ghost of Tsushima. One way it was very different, though, vastly different, is the weapon variety. And there were so many different types of weapons, and they all had all these unique properties and these unique abilities. And I think that Ninja, I almost said Ninja Theory, Team Ninja did a fantastic job with that in Rise of the Ronin. And it really, at some point when I was playing, I was like, I don't think Sucker Punch can replicate that exactly. I don't think it's tangible to say Jin Sakai, assuming that's who we're still going to play as, can now, you could choose between 12 or 13 different weapon types with all these different properties and all these different stats. I don't think, again, that's too RPG-like, but I think what we could see is just generally more weapons introduced, where rather than just being able to use a katana, we will be able to use I'm trying to remember the name of the weapon I was using. It's like a very large katana. Can somebody help me out here? I forgot the name of the actual weapon, but the giant katana basically, or a broadsword or something like that. An odachi, thank you. Yeah, I was like, what is the name of that uchi katana? But I think this is something that could definitely go a long way in fleshing out Ghost of Tsushima and giving the sequel a distinctly different feel from the first game. We're like, yeah, the base combat is based around the katana itself, just as the first game. But now, as you progress, there are other weapons you can unlock, and it completely changes the gameplay style and the approach. I think that this would be a very good idea. I agree. I thought Jin Sakai was a great character as well. I've seen a lot of people talk about this idea that the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima is actually going to be like it's actually not going to be Jin Sakai. It might be like a different character, like in the future, maybe part of his bloodline or something like that. That would be a really interesting route to go down, and I am really curious, actually, like what they're gonna do. If I had to guess, I think Jin is gonna remain like a staple character. I think that's gonna happen. Is the sequel 100% confirmed? Well, we'll call it an open secret. We'll say it's 98% confirmed, 99% confirmed. Um, Jason Schreier says it's in the works, or at least he basically confirmed that. Multiple job listings confirmed it. Yeah, it's a thing. So, but yeah, I think Jin's going to remain the main character for sure. Come on, boss. The first game, you're saying it took place in 1274. Jin will definitely return during the first Mongol invasion. I think the second game will take place in 1281, which was the second Mongol invasion. Not that no wasn't to you, by the way. Yeah, that's actually good speculation there. I didn't know that. I'll be honest, I didn't realize there was a second Mongol invasion in 1281. That's interesting. My question is, with that second Mongol invasion, does it take place on Tsushima Island, like, is it in a different location? Because you might be on to something there. I wasn't aware of that. We go to Tokyo, Kyoto, mainland Japan. Ooh, yeah. You know what? Actually, that makes perfect sense. That feels exactly like where this sequel would go. 100%. That feels exactly like where it would go. I don't think there's any chance they stay on Tsushima Island. I think we're done with that. But yeah, jumping ahead a couple years, 1281, second island invasion or second invasion in mainland Japan. Yeah, that sounds perfect. I mean, that sounds like ramping things up, So could also be facing the shogunate. Oh yeah, true. Him being the ghost now. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I really, really hope this game gets announced this year. I'll be able to survive, obviously. I'll live if a Ghost of Tsushima sequel isn't announced this year, but man, it would be very disappointing if there is a showcase and it just doesn't show up. That would be very disappointing. Excuse me. Might cough a little bit over the course of this stream. Jane Sakai? Oh man. Uh-oh. What's going on there? What's going on there? It's gonna be like 1274, 1281, bro. All right. So that covers the first main topic of discussion. Just to summarize, rumors of a new Sly Cooper game began to ignite across the internet, and they were immediately dispelled and corrected by Jason Schreier. And he says they're working on Ghost of Tsushima 2, and that's the only game they're working on. Sucker Punch is a one-person team. And all is well for now, unless you are a Sly Cooper fan, in which case I don't think all is well, but maybe it's just back to normal, so to speak. Josh Z, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, buddy. You're saying here, I can't believe it took more than 15 years to realize that they have to put more money into marketing and that going multi-plat was a good idea. They reached half of their expected profits for the fiscal year. Yeah, so Josh, with your super chat, I'm actually going to segue into the second topic. Thank you for setting that up for me. I think you were waiting. Where we're going to talk about the situation with Square Enix and how they're making what seems to be a pretty big announcement, at least the way it's being reported on, that they're going aggressively multi-platform. And Josh, I think some of the things you're pointing out here, yeah, it seems to me like Square's leadership has been. I feel like Square Enix's leadership, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it seems like they're always kind of shuffling. There's always new people in and out. It's like kind of a rotating door. And they're just constantly trying to get somebody in there that can like figure it out and like, how can we maximize everything here? And I'm going to go over this report. Let me exit out of here first. All right, so the report comes from Push Square. Square Enix to aggressively pursue multi-platform strategy from now on. Square Enix has confirmed in a new medium-term business plan that it intends to, quote, aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy across PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and PC platforms. Instead of allowing select AAA games from its biggest series to be locked onto one system, the company will look to, quote, build an environment where more customers can enjoy our titles. It then goes on to say the publisher will strive to maximize the acquisition of new users when launching a title, and that of recurring users after starting management of game operation. It's all based on a plan incorporating 4 pillars: new initiatives for stability, enhancing productivity, diversifying earnings opportunities, and balance between shareholder return and growth investment. Collectively, the idea is to, quote, shift from quantity to quality and evolve to deliver a variety of contents that ensure fun all over the world. For some time now, there's been a reliable formula to Square Enix's releases, with its games launching on different combinations of platforms, sometimes based on exclusivity deals. Final Fantasy 16 first released only on PS5, with the PC version expected in the future. The same can be said for FF7 Remake, and this year's Rebirth may take a while to hit. Wait, hold on. What's this say? Yeah, so they're mentioning FF7 Remake and Rebirth. Other times, the reasoning hasn't been quite so obvious. The original Octopath Traveler debuted on Nintendo Switch, which was then later ported to PC and Xbox One. Its sequel then targeted PS5 and PS4. It's unlikely this change in strategy will affect business dealings that are already in place, such as the third Final Fantasy remake game. But apart from them, it seems Square Enix's games will be made available on as many platforms as possible. And so, yeah, this is like the big story of the day. And I think that there's some interesting takes out there, certainly already. I mean, this news has only been out there for a couple of hours, but man, there are some very interesting takes. And I think that when people are coming to these conclusions and saying what they're saying, I think they're forgetting a couple of things, important things that I think serve as a reminder that we really don't know all of the details, because there's no way for us to know all the details. We can only infer. We can only make our best guess. We can only make assumptions. Hold on one sec. Come on, bus. I love how I move him over there and he thinks, well, it's time to lick the curtain. So, let's start with the most common thing that I've been seeing. And That is the immediate blaming of PlayStation and exclusivity. And listen, it's pretty clear that when it comes to Square Enix, exclusivity is not going to be the way to go for them. I mean, it's clear because they're saying that, but I think it's kind of been clear for a little while that I don't know that these deals are working out the way that you would hope they would. That's not to say that the games are complete failures or flops, because here's something that I think people need to understand and they need to realize, and it's driving me nuts that I'm seeing so many takes, I'm seeing so many opinions, and people are just leaving this fact out of the equation, and it's like a critical part of the equation. When Square agrees to an exclusivity deal, they are being paid to do so. Okay? I'm just going to sit on this for a moment so that everybody can just, if that's something you forgot or didn't consider, I want it to be remembered, and I want it to be considered that no one, not Sony, not Nintendo, not Microsoft, nobody is walking into Square Enix HQ and saying, well, we're going to hold you hostage now, and you are going to make your games exclusive. That is not how this works. How this works is an offer is made. Okay? An offer is made, whether it be by Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft. And they say, look, we would like to have your game exclusively on our platform, and we're willing to pay this amount for it, and we'll also cover the marketing costs. From that point forward, it is up to Square Enix to decide whether or not they want to take that deal. And if they take that deal, then it clearly illustrates that they think it's a good deal. However, it is very important to also understand that a company taking the money up front, such as Square Enix, Sony says, hey, we want to cut you a check for Final Fantasy 16 exclusivity, for Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth exclusivity. We're gonna pay for this. It's also worth noting that doesn't guarantee success, right? That doesn't guarantee sales success. It just guarantees. All that guarantees is that you're gonna make some of your money directly up front, but you're not going to make all of your money up front. And so the remainder of that money, the idea is if they agreed to that deal, Sony says, we'll pay you X amount of money to secure Final Fantasy 16 exclusivity. From that point forward, it's like, okay, we get some money up front. They cover the cost of marketing. Now all we have to do is sell, I don't know, whatever their expectation is, 5 million, 7 million, maybe 10 million, I don't know. And once we do that, then we're winning across the board. We get Sony's money, right? We get the marketing covered, and we also get great sales. But what could be happening is they took the money, so they get the money up front. They get the marketing covered by Sony, but then it turns out that the sales are not reaching as high as they thought. And so my assumption here is, well, it's one of two things, because knowing that this is a two-way street, knowing that it's not just Square, it's also Sony. And I'm just talking about the PlayStation side of things. I'm not talking about, other deals that Square does. I got to say that, we don't know whose decision this was. Everybody is assuming that, Square's walking away from Sony. But I want to remind people that, dude, Square had no problem signing all of these deals with Sony. They were definitely not hesitant in signing exclusivity deals with Sony. In fact, they seemed very much happy to sign these exclusivity deals with Sony. Do not be shocked if at some point we find out, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm saying I don't know. I'm just simply pointing out that don't be shocked to find out in the future that Sony was the one who actually walked away, because that's what people are forgetting, is Sony is paying a fuck ton of money for this. And guess what? Sony pays this amount of money because they're also expecting a certain amount of sales as well. We need to look at games like Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth and Remake and all these Final Fantasy games that Sony's locking down as exclusives that they're money hatting. Sony has a goal as well. Their goal is this is going to be a game that's going to drive PS5 sales. This is going to be a game that sells incredibly well on our platform, and we're going to make a bunch of money. That's why we're paying a bunch of money. We're paying a bunch of money because we hope to make a bunch of money later on. And after they pay all that money, and it turns out that no, it's not doing that. It's not selling as many units as you thought. It's not making you as much money as you thought. It's not doing as well as you expected. If you're Sony, why would you continue to say, you know what? Yeah, we should just keep dumping money into this, especially now knowing that Hiroki Totoki is the one in charge. Hiroki Totoki is the CFO. He literally said, like, look, man, we got to start cutting costs here. We got to start saving money. So I think what we are seeing is the erosion of what was supposed to be a mutually beneficial partnership. I think that's what we're seeing. I think both Sony and Square were so eager to make this happen because it seemed like such a winning formula. Hey, we're PlayStation. We're going to sell a lot of consoles. We're going to, hopefully do really well this generation, but we think that your game will specifically appeal to not just a couple million, but a lot of people, right? Like millions upon millions of people, maybe even 10 plus million people. Maybe that's where we can go. Sony has these lofty ambitions of what this game can do on their platform. And Square probably agrees. Square's like, yeah, you know what? Hey, you're going to give us that money and we believe in it. We believe we can do that too. And I think what we're just seeing is that, like, yeah, no, it's just not working out that way. There was all this conversation about FF7 Rebirth and whether or not it was a sales success or a failure. And look, I don't know how you could see Square Enix announce something like this immediately after Rebirth and walk away thinking that, man, that game must have really cleaned house. Like, no, that game probably very much underperformed, like significantly so, to where they're like, you know what? Complete change of strategy going forward. It could be that, or maybe it's not. I mean, we don't know because they're not saying, look, there is an important piece to this to go over as well. There is a part of Square Enix and their earnings where it says here, Square Enix's digital entertainment sales were ever so slightly up, mainly thanks to its HD games sub-segment, the firm said. The solid performance of Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, Dragon Quest Monsters The Dark Prince, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth saw HD game sales increase to $636 million, and that is compared to the $503 million from the previous fiscal year. So it's interesting because we're learning that the revenue is up. However, the profits, it seems like Square's maybe suffering from some of the same problems that Sony is, where it's like the revenue's up, but the profit isn't. The profit isn't up. Space D, you're saying, so why do PlayStation fans want to keep gatekeeping this saga, but at the same time don't show up for the game and buying 10 million copies? Well, this is a tough question to answer, Space D, because I can't speak on behalf of all the PlayStation fans, right? Do PlayStation fans want to gatekeep Final Fantasy? Maybe some of them. I've said this multiple times, and I'll reiterate it, that I don't care about Final Fantasy exclusivity. Like, I don't. I think they're big games for Sony to get. I think they're like, wow, okay, yeah, you show up at a showcase with FF16 exclusivity and FF7 Remake exclusivity. Like, yeah, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. But I never really cared about it because I was just like, well, okay, like, I get why Sony wants it. And I'm only, I don't even want to say a fan. I'm only completely indifferent or okay. Boss, bro, come on, man. This cat, I swear. Let me try this again. I'm okay / indifferent to third-party exclusivity when it is mutually beneficial. If it's benefiting the company making the game and it's benefiting, the company who's paying them to secure that game, I'm cool. I'm indifferent to that, basically. He's like, okay, I get that from the consumer level. It's like, well, fuck, man. I want to play it, and I get it. That sucks. I get it. Exclusivity sucks and whatnot. But from the business side of it, I get it. It's like they're both trying to have a mutually beneficial money making deal here. And if it works, it works. But I am very much against it if it doesn't work, right? And in this case, and I've said this multiple times, like, dude, if Square Enix is struggling with Final Fantasy sales, it should not be exclusive. And I don't know why Sony would pay for that exclusivity. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Games that are struggling in any way, shape, or form should have the best possible chance to make it so they're not going to struggle, because if they struggle hard enough, they're going to go away. And we don't want to see that. And the truth is that does not apply to every game. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about for some reason when it comes to exclusivity. I think some people forget that the point of exclusivity is to actually drive potentially more sales, because exclusives are created in order to entice people to come to your platform, to invest in your platform. Therefore, those exclusives has to be very, very, very good. Like, they can't just be mediocre. They can't just be okay. They have to be very good. And if they're not, good luck getting people to come to your platform for them. But if that's the thing, you make such a good game that it drives people to your platform, chances are that game's going to do well in its own right because it's a really good game. So in this case with Square Enix and Final Fantasy, I think this is a smart move. I do. Like, if they're struggling to make profit, and they're struggling with their sales, and it's just not, and this deal and this partnership just isn't working out, yeah, don't lock yourself in anything. You got to give yourself the best shot possible. You are already a third-party publisher. Why wouldn't you do that? Although I do think the third Final Fantasy game, I don't know. Some people think that that's already locked in as exclusive. I don't know about that. I think the deal could change. There's probably some clauses and stuff. Yeah, Sony. Yeah, I agree with that. Sony will probably sell like the marketing rights or something. Kane Z7. Thank you for the super chat. You're saying Square Enix games that released between 2020 and 2024 equals 47 games. Nintendo exclusive 9, PlayStation exclusive 6, multi-platform equals 32. That's actually nuts. That's funny. You know what makes that so funny is, like, you wouldn't know that, right? With how much emphasis we are going aggressively multi-platform. Meanwhile, we're basically already doing that with just some games being exclusive. I just think what that means is, I'll be honest with you, man. You say Nintendo exclusives 9, PlayStation exclusives 6. I think both of those numbers go to 0. That's what I think that means. Josh, you're saying it's a contractual obligation still? It could be. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there may have been a clause in that contract somewhere where it's like, if your games don't perform up to this, like, we can void the deal. I really wonder if that happened. Considering how abrupt this is, I do wonder if that's what happened. But yeah, when I look at this, it just seems to me like, considering the direction the video game industry is going in, people who are running these third-party companies, they just have to be more careful. Like, this proves that it can be risky at times to, take that exclusivity deal bag and assume that everything will be fine. It can go the other way. And again, I'm not saying everything's a failure. We don't know that. I mean, Square's reiterated multiple times FF16 met their expectations, but I don't know, man. If I'm being real, I think the expectations for both of these games are super high. If I had to guess, like, I know how Sony expects their big hitter games to do. And let me tell you, like, they're not looking at a game like God of War or Spider-Man and thinking like, yeah, we'll be cool with 6 million sales. No. 10 million at the least, at the absolute least. And that's the expectation. Like, that's how Sony is operating. And I am not, Oh, his boss wants. Hold on, boss wants some protein. Look at him. He thinks he's so slick. I'm just curious what he's doing up there. We will observe him in his natural habitat. All right, he's done. Drive by Joe with the $2 super chat. Excuse me, saying Xbox doesn't sell games. I'm sure PlayStation paid enough for it. Dude, that's another thing here. That's another thing here that we have to consider. Microsoft is in this weird transitioning process of slowly becoming, seemingly, we'll see if it happens, but all signs are pointing towards they're becoming more of a third-party publisher. And there was this question that was asked earlier this year where, like, if Microsoft does that, how are third-party publishers going to feel? And I'm like, well, damn, dude. How is Sony going to feel? Dude, what if this is Sony being like, dude, I said dude 3 times. I'm losing my shit here. It's because boss is just, hold on, boss is distracting the hell out of me. Boss, please. Please, bro. Dude. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony is looking at the situation and they're seeing like, well, Xbox isn't a threat anymore. Xbox is certainly not a threat when it comes to the Japanese side of things. Japanese game dev, Japanese game sales. Why should we keep paying for this? What are we paying for exactly? We know you probably won't be able to put the next Final Fantasy game on the Switch because the Switch probably won't be powerful enough. Maybe. I almost just wonder if Sony's like, why are we paying for this shit again? And Square's like, quick, we have to make this a positive thing. I don't know, man. It's just business, you know? It's business. These companies are not going to pay for shit if they feel like it's not worth it. It's that simple. It's that simple. But we need more info, truthfully. As always, we need more information before we can really come to any true conclusions. Because most of what I'm saying is speculation. They block PC too. Well, dude, that's why I told you, I said, dude, again. That's why I said it was always interesting to me that the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth exclusivity window was only 3 months. Something happened, man. Something changed. 3 months. Planet Schlorpian here says, if Square thinks they sold poorly on PS5, what makes them think they'll sell well on Xbox, which has only sold 800,000 over the last quarter? Exactly. Planet Schlorpian, I want you to take that mindset that you have, because a lot of people are wondering that. Now, pretend you're in charge of Sony. Aren't you going to maybe ask yourself, wait a second, why am I paying you a shit ton of money for this game again? You know what I mean? Because Foam Stars didn't sell well. I think it's safe to say Foam Stars should have maybe never existed in the first place, Rudy. I don't mean to laugh, but like, damn. Yeah, Foam Stars, sheesh. We don't talk about that game here. Foam who? Yeah, that's true. Really quick, you're saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth selling 2.4 million may not be what they wanted, but that's still the 5th best-selling game and $210 million of revenue without the money hat / advertising. So can't say it flopped or anything. It just sold fine. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm thinking maybe it's Sony. I know some people think that's like a fanboy take, but I'm not trying to make it a fan. I'm just saying, like, dude, it really could be that they're like, listen, we paid a lot of money for this and it's really not doing what we thought it would. And it's just not worth it. And this could work out to be a mutually good thing for Sony and Square. Sony should let go. I think it would be wise of Sony to stop paying for stuff where it just doesn't make any sense. Like, let it go. Let more people have access to it, and it'll probably still do just fine on your platform. Maybe not even much different. Josh Z with another super chat here. Thank you, man. You're saying, I think what this means is that Square Enix is being more realistic about putting that $140 million in content abandonment losses into marketing and increasing the quality of HD games. This mostly affects AA. Yeah, you're probably right about that, Josh. We do need to keep that in mind, that they did just announce $140 million in content abandonment losses, aka canceled games. And they do say here that they do want to focus more on quality rather than quantity. And so, you combine that with this approach of like, and then we're also going to try to target everything. It could work for them. See, Martin J, this is where I'm getting so fed up with this, man. I am. Like, I'm getting fed up with this notion that, like, oh, we're spinning it as a win for Sony. Dude, there's no win here for Sony. Like, did you not? This is where I get pissed, man, because this is why people on the internet, they just fucking take this shit and they run with it and they try to destroy reasonable takes. Who said Sony isn't winning here? I literally just said over and over again, like, Sony paid a fuck ton of money. And they, like, there's a chance that they may have wasted it. There's a chance that they may have lost money by money hatting. How is that a Sony win? This is the opposite of a win. Sony pays for exclusivity. It's high risk, high reward. You pay for that exclusivity and you money hat that shit because it's supposed to bring a high reward. And when it doesn't, well, you just took a high risk and now you're going to pay for it. Literally. And that's what happened. I'm not even that pissed at the person that said that. It's just that one person represents so many other people out there where they don't listen. They don't fucking listen. And it's annoying. Instead, what they do is they listen for 20 fucking seconds at a time and then they go on some tirade and they miss everything else. They miss what came before. They miss what comes after. They react to like fucking 3 sentences and they think they have the whole picture. And they think that they're the ones that people should be listening to. And then people are dumb enough to actually listen to them. It's a fucking vicious, dumbass cycle is what it is. Vicious cycle of dumbasses. It's not a Sony win. None of this is a win. To be clear, none of this is a win for anybody. The only win in this situation would be if Sony came out, well, we'll say Square Enix, because Square Enix comes out before Sony. They just did. Square Enix comes out and they say, hey, FF7 Rebirth, it's fucking doing great. We're making so much money. I'm spitting everywhere. We're making so much money. FF16 is killing it. Exclusivity deals are fucking great, man. We are rolling in the dough. And then Sony comes out and says, like, yeah, man, that investment we made, that money hat, paid itself off instantly. Now we're just raking in the profit alongside Square. That's a win for Sony, PlayStation, and Square. And what we are seeing is the opposite of that. They're both losing, seemingly. I don't know that they're both losing severely, but it's clear, as I said, that this partnership eroded. And that's the thing is, I see people being like, oh, well, maybe if they'd actually went to Xbox, and I get why people are bringing that into the conversation, but we need to just be real here. And like, dude, Xbox as a platform is not really something that should be part of this conversation. Final Fantasy 16 releasing day and date on PS5 and Xbox wouldn't have saved Final Fantasy 16 if it did poorly. Square Enix keeps saying it didn't do poorly. It keeps saying it did fine. It wouldn't have made a difference. Same thing with FF7 Rebirth. They just released Final Fantasy 14 on it, and I don't think it did anything. So I'm just simply saying that these are two different conversations. I think Xbox isn't really that relevant to to most Japanese publishers. And I don't think that. I mean, I hope Square isn't looking at Xbox as like they'll save us. They'll say like if we bring our games to Xbox, that'll save. Like no, it's not. PC probably a while. Like I'll be honest, just like I was previously. I'll continue to be honest in that like I don't understand. I don't understand why FF7 Rebirth didn't launch day one on PC and PS5 because they were like, oh, it's exclusive for 3 months. Okay, why? Like, what difference does that make? The only thing I can think is maybe there was some kind of deal where it's like Sony's like, look, just make it exclusive for 3 months. And if it does really well, we're going to renegotiate and extend that. If it does poorly, you could just put it on PC and we'll both need that money. I'm wondering if that's what you're saying. Optimization for PC took a lot of time. I don't know about that. 3 months? I mean, I guess, yeah. I guess I would assume though, if it was that short of a time period though for the exclusivity, it's like, I mean, I'm assuming that game is pretty close to being done for PC already. Why not just delay the release and release it simultaneously? I'm just wondering this because I always found that strange. I always found that strange. Oh yeah, Mullen, you're saying exclusivity was for 3 months technically for Final Fantasy 16. Or no, you're saying for FF16 it was 6 months and it's still not on PC. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I guess maybe yeah, good point. Good point. They could have just had to put that there. It's a legal obligation to say it's exclusive for 3 months, but this game ain't going to be ready for PC in like a year. Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, the devs, the Final Fantasy devs have said that like, you know, it's pretty easy to make this game on PS5. We can get it done pretty quick. And PC is going to take time to optimize for. So, yeah. But that's a whole nother situation, right? If these developers are having an easy time developing for a single console or a single platform, and now they're just like, actually, now we're going to have to target everything. I mean, that could extend the development time, thus extending the budget or increasing the budget over time. Oh, it sounds like Square has to figure some stuff out. I think that's clear. I think that they're trying to sort some shit out. Crolex, member for 7 months, says here, hey, ABG, do you think Sony has taken over an unannounced IP of Deviation Games and Jason should develop the game in his own way? I don't think they took over the IP. No, I don't even think that there ever was an actual real game. I don't think like anything was trademarked or anything like that. I think that they had concepts. I think they had ideas. I think they had an idea of what a new game could be. Do I think some of that transitions over to PlayStation and to Sony if they founded this new studio and they hired Jason Blundell? Yes, I do. And do I think he's going to develop it in his own way and see his vision through? Yes. I put out a little video clip yesterday going over this news with the new PlayStation Studio. A lot of people seem to be very confused, which I don't blame them. So I might have to talk about that more in depth later on. Clarify. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll just wait for some official news. Space D, you're saying, come on, MBG. That narrative is old. Why games keep taking 4 to 6 years to make on PlayStation. The easy development was all PR. I'm not so sure about that. Listen, man, I can't agree with that because why isn't Final Fantasy 16 on PC yet? Like that game, it's pretty clear that like Sony did not extend the exclusivity of that game. I think there is some I think this idea that it was all PR, it's like, bro, I don't think so, man. I don't think Sony is literally paying them to say like, hey, please make sure you say this about the PS5. I don't think so. MBG, you talk like Spider-Man on PC sold more than 3 million. It didn't. How much do you honestly expect FF7, etc., to sell on PC? These games, these types of games don't sell like they do on console. They'll be lucky to get 1 million. Yeah, well, I guess I just assume that the sooner you get a game, if it's struggling on the console, I don't necessarily know that. Yeah, putting on PC, I'm not saying that guarantees it'll do better, but I think it could only help. So the sooner they get it over, the better. You know. Hopefully that explains it. Like I'm not saying that PC will be the savior for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or 16. I don't know, but you got to at least give it a shot. You know, get what you can, get what you can while you still can. That's my view of it. Give it like a second marketing round, maybe. But yeah, I don't think this is a big deal ultimately. To clear up, or not clear up, but to get a little bit more focused here and not too in the weeds of this. I mean, we did get into the weeds of it, but to chill out and zoom out. I don't think this is a big deal. I think this is smart, and I think we're going to continue to see more of this. I want to make it clear that if Sony were to say tomorrow we are done with third-party exclusivity deals, I would be okay with that. I'd be okay, cool. It'd be surprising, but it'd be like, I get it. You know, just focus on your own games. You want to make the games from your studios, but they're not going to do that. I'm just saying that if a studio and a publisher decides that exclusivity is not the way to go for them, I would never be against that. Now, if it's a studio owned by a platform holder, obviously I'm assuming the developer would want their game to be everywhere, but it's pretty obvious why their game is going to be exclusive. My voice changed over the last 30 minutes. Probably, yeah. It's probably going downhill again. What? LOL, why? Because I'm just trying to make a point here that I can understand why publishers and third-party developers take exclusivity deals. And I think more people need to put themselves in that position where, like, let's say you're developing a game, pretty big game, and it has promise. And then Sony walks in and says, listen, it's going to be very expensive for you to market this game. And it's going to require a lot of expertise. And it's not going to be easy. How about you sign a deal with us? We will pay you a certain amount upfront to cover a certain portion of the cost of the development, and we will cover the marketing. And you won't have to worry about any of that. We'll market it. We know what we're doing. We know how to market games. And then, it'll be a deal for like a year. And then after that, you're free to go do what you want. I think people need to realize that if you're a developer, if you're in a studio, that might be a pretty fucking tantalizing offer, because they're probably going to give you a good amount of money and cover the marketing. Sony starts throwing all these numbers at you. Here's how many users we have. Here's how many games that are sold. Numbers. Like it's Sony probably, they know what they're doing here, man. They know how to work in these deals and convince not in a nefarious way, but just like, this is what it is. This is what we can offer. And that's where I'm saying, like, it's always so weird to me to see the outrage pointed towards exclusivity deals, because it's like it takes two to tango. And the name of the game is money here. So that's why I said earlier that, like, when it works, it works. When it does what it's supposed to do, it can be beneficial, business-wise, certainly. When it doesn't work, though, it could be very damaging business-wise. And I just think we're at a point in time in the gaming industry where I think exclusivity will still remain and we will still see exclusivity deals, but I think we'll see a lot less. I think a big part of that is just because I think a lot of publishers, not publishers, I think platform holders like Sony are going to be less willing to pay for these games because they're fucking expensive. We have ACM here. Says, imagine you're on a canoe in a swamp in East Texas on June 9th watching the Xbox showcase. After Blade and Jones show Mickey Mouse comes out and he flips off Phil, then the logo pops up, PlayStation exclusive, baby. ACM, that was very toxic for no reason. I love where that went though. I love how it started. Imagine you're on a canoe in a swamp in East Texas on June 9th. Damn. Is that where ACM, is that where you're planning on watching the Xbox show? That's pretty funny. Yeah, no, Blade and Indiana Jones will be coming to PlayStation. Yeah, especially Blade. You're going to be in South Texas. Okay, not an East Texas swamp. Well, that's the thing. These games you mentioned, they are owned by Disney. The IP is owned by Disney. I can't imagine if you're Disney, you're looking at what's happening right now with the Xbox platform and think like you're probably like, oh my god. However, Blade was not. Blade was never said to be exclusive, and Blade. It's so funny to look back, dude. I remember last year, I got fucking stomped on. I got stomped on when the Game Awards happened and Blade was shown off, and I was like, there's no Xbox like logo. Like, what's going on here? Like, there's no indication that this game is not multi-platform. And I got stomped on. Port beggars, hopium, you want Xbox's games. And it's so fucking funny that, like, yeah, that game is clearly not going to be an Xbox exclusive. But whatever, you know. I think that I'll play Blade. I mean, I'll play Blade if it's exclusive or not. That's a game that I definitely would go. Ironically enough, and who knows, maybe somebody at Microsoft will hear this and they're like, make it exclusive. I would go to Xbox to play Blade. Yeah, I like Blade. I think that game sounds like it could be awesome. But if it's multi-plat, sure, I'll play it on PlayStation. Paul Ganell coming in, dropping the first membership gift of the day. Paul's like, you know what? Better late than never. Better late than never to get this membership train started. Guys, Paul dropped one for you an hour and a half into the stream. 24 to go. Who's going to do it? Who's going to drop that 50 bomb? I'm just kidding, but thank you, Paul. Really appreciate that, bro. I'm trying my best to keep my voice stable here. And ACM, thank you for the super chat, man. I think Indiana Jones is still going to be exclusive for a little bit on Xbox, but then I think it'll come to PlayStation maybe a year later or something, or like 6 months later. Goat Gaming, you're saying I'm so sad about Square. I can't do this anymore. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, exclusivity benefits a platform, right? And those platforms can, like I said, they can start to offer up some of their money in the name of exclusivity where it benefits them and potentially the game and the publisher. But I think Square, among other publishers, ironically enough, maybe Xbox being one of them, it's like you just got these companies just have to do what's best for the business, and that goes without saying. They're going to do that. Did I swallow a cigar or something? Holy shit, that is. Yes, we'll just say that I accidentally fucking chewed up and ate and swallowed a cigar. Fucked me up. But this is why Sony is um people I've seen certain PlayStation fans like wondering like why is Sony pursuing PC so aggressive? Like this is why. Exclusivity is great until you need more, you know? And right now, look around. Look at what's going on, not just in the gaming industry, in the world. Everybody needs more. Everybody needs more. And everybody's going to do what they got to do to try to get more. And that applies to everybody. So again, it's not surprising to see Square take this stance. And I wish them the best, man. Like I hope that they can figure it out and get where they need to be. Same with Sony. Even though some don't believe it, same with Microsoft. Like I'd rather see an overall healthy industry where the competition can be fierce in certain areas and not so. I think what we're beginning to see is an industry that's becoming more driven. It's less by competition and more by like it feels like rather than the fear being directed towards a competitor, where it's like I fear what my competitor can and will do, so I have to like step it up. It feels like the fear is being directed inward. It's like, oh man, this isn't about competition anymore. This is about survival. This is about our shareholders. This is about things, rapidly beginning to spiral out of control, and we need to make sure that doesn't happen. And that sucks because that causes stagnation, that causes hesitancy, that causes a whole wide array of bad shit. And it causes also, more than anything, it causes a lot of reevaluation. And that's in case people like haven't realized, and I think most people have, is that's what we're seeing. Every video game publisher, platform holder, and company, they're all reevaluating their strategy because they realize that shit, things are changing very quickly. Things are shrinking. And it's this kind, everybody has to find their footing sooner rather than later. They have to figure it out. They have to find solid ground because the ground that was underneath them is beginning to collapse and break away. The ground that they thought was safe is not, and that's what we're seeing in this industry right now. And yeah, that's true. Tomorrow, Sony does their earnings, and we're gonna learn a lot. At least I think we will. We should. It's their annual earnings as well. It's the big ones, the big kahuna for Sony. So I'm curious to see what good news, what bad news we get. Of course, they're going to be talking to the shareholders. I want to remind everybody, this is not supposed to be public facing. It will be in the public, but I'm saying like Sony will not be talking to me and you as the consumer. They're going to be talking to their shareholders. So it'll be very interesting to see what they have to say. 20 million PS5 sold. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to put a prediction here, Irfan. The original goal, Sony wanted to sell 25 million by the end of their fiscal year. They updated their goal. They said, we're not hitting 25 million. Now we're trying to hit 21 million. I think they're going to hit 18 million. That's the number I'm putting in. I'm locking it in. 18 million PS5s, which is a lot, but it's going to look not great to the shareholders because that's going to, you're going to miss the goal by like 7 million. You think they hit 20? I'll be honest, man. I'd be pretty surprised if they hit 20 million plus. And if they hit 20 million plus, then man, I'm out of touch. If they did hit that number, I would be out of touch because I would have thought that, dude. I think PS5 console sales have dramatically slowed down, specifically the past 2 months. Past 2.5 months, I think they have dramatically slowed down. You think 15 million? Oh, geez. Jesus, that would be fucking bad. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that. Like that, it would be bad because it's like, dude, you thought you were gonna hit 25 and you only hit 15. Not that 15 in and of itself is bad, but it's like when you miss the expectation by such a wide margin, that's not a good look. 16 million. I'm thinking I'm sticking with 18. I don't know why. I feel like 18 sounds about right. Where it's not like so far away where it's like, holy shit. But it's far away enough of like, oof. Yeah, you guys got to reevaluate a little bit here. Exactly. Not bad numbers, but a bad look. And the biggest problem though is you know the reason why Sony was so bullish about 25 million, because we have to ask that question, like why would Sony tell their shareholders 25 million if that really wasn't a possibility, or if they ended up not hitting that at all? It's because they need Sony's goal is to continue to convince the shareholders that the console model still works, that there is still growth in the console model. Because as soon as the shareholders get a whiff of stagnation in the console space, or they begin to believe that the console model, there is no more growth to be had, or it's not doing as well, they're going to start pushing Sony to do other things. Look at what's happening to Microsoft. You know me, I place the blame on Phil because he's the head of gaming at Microsoft. I place the blame on Matt Booty. I place the blame on Sarah. I place the blame on all these people who are in these positions of power. But the actual reality is they lost control. Once Xbox sales spiraled out of control and it was clear that there was nothing they could do about it, I blame the Booty. Yeah. Once it was clear that this shit's going downhill and it's becoming a landslide and we can't stop it. Once the shareholders realize that, now you know why the shareholders have taken over. Because the shareholders are sitting there saying, like, yeah, we're going to need growth. And Phil kind of said this recently. And Sony's not, I want to make it clear, Sony is not immune to this. I need to make that crystal fucking clear to every PlayStation fan. Sony is not at all immune to this. And if Sony starts to feel enough heat, you're going to see Sony do things that will, you know, would have seemed totally impossible. Keep that in mind. Strange times. This is why I'm very interested to see what Sony has to say tomorrow. I still am a believer though in that, like, if Sony wants to give themselves the best possible chance, you know, to continue to thrive in the console space, they need to have a good show. Perfect Image, member for 12 months, says, hey everyone, MBG, why is Sony not open to other markets so gamers can play? Why is Xbox closing studios while Sony can take them and create a new one? Yeah, I get what you're saying, Perfect Image. It feels like we're seeing some really strange decisions. Really quick, before I answer you, Perfect Image, do you know the current record for PlayStation consoles sold in one fiscal year? Let me check. Sony PlayStation's sold record fiscal year. Let me see. Does anybody know this offhand? I'm having trouble finding this for some reason. Because it's a great question. What is the previous record? You think it's 18 million? Yeah, I feel like it was with like the PS4. That sounds about right. It's not popping up though. Hold on, let me see. Sony looks to break a record by selling more PlayStation consoles than ever before this year. Um, we aim to continuously accelerate penetration penetration of the PS5 and aim for PS5 selling units 25 million units, the highest for any PlayStation console in history. Um, do they not list? Yeah, this article isn't listing the previous record. This is annoying as shit. Somebody has to know the previous record. How could we know? I can't find it for some reason. Did anybody else find it? Anybody else find this? Somebody will find it. Update us and let us know. But Perfect Image, getting back to your question here, why isn't Sony open to other markets so gamers can play? I don't know. It's a control thing. Um, yeah, people are wondering like why is Sony so willing to not allow like 177 countries to buy their games? Boss. Why is Sony so willing to do this or unwilling to do this? Why are they still going to, PSN is only supported in, I think, 79 countries or 69 countries, I think. It's one of those two. And Sony's, yeah, they're any game. I don't know if it's going to be all games, but any game with multiplayer, it's control. It seems that way to me. I could be wrong, but my assessment of this is the long term play that Sony has for PC is they essentially want to convert every PC into a PlayStation console, but they want to do so in like a complete way where I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's end goal is we create a PlayStation launcher and that's where you buy your PlayStation games on PC. And if you want to play multiplayer in any of these PC games, you play it through the PC launcher and you sign up. You even have to pay for PlayStation Plus. If Sony's planning on doing that, they're idiotic. I'm going to be honest. If that's really like that, it's hard for me to believe that Sony would have that plan. But I'm almost wondering if that's their plan because if that's really what they're going to find, they're going to find out the hard way, bro. I mean, it just isn't going to. It's not going to work that way. Like Sony would literally have a better chance trying to sell more consoles. Sony would have a better chance trying to sell like more consoles than they did the PS2. They would have a better chance and more luck doing that than they would if they were to try to strong arm their way into PC. But another reason, and maybe this one makes more sense, is MAUs, monthly active users. The whole idea is there's a very, very large pool of PC players that are seemingly not signed up to PlayStation Plus, that are not counted as potential MAUs. So maybe Sony feels like this is their way of increasing and inflating that number. But what's very strange to me about that is if that's true, is Sony communicating that an MAU, like a monthly active user, is more important than a game sale? You know what I mean? Like a game sale, I would assume that's the most important thing. That's direct money from a customer. So I don't know. I don't. Sony has not said anything. No, I agree with you, Severin. You're saying MBG, be honest, they can't sign up for PSN. It's not available in their country. That's not their fault now, is it? No. No, it's not their fault. And I've seen people say, like, oh, you should pirate these games. Like, if Sony isn't going to let you actually buy the game in your country, then you should pirate it. I mean, I don't advocate piracy, but I don't know what to say against that. Like, yeah, I don't know. If I wanted to play the game that badly, I guess that's what I would do too. Because I would just be like, Sony, why the fuck can't I buy it? You know? And this is why I think, like, I would just love for Sony to explain. I'm not saying people will be okay with it. I'm not saying people will accept it. But it would be nice if Sony could at least just say, here's why we're not selling this game or these games in all these countries, or why we're not selling them outside of, PSN login. All right, I got to give Boss some treats. He's being real bad. You guys are making me break my rule. We're only at one member. We're supposed to be 24 members ahead of that. Feed the beast. Yeah, we're feeding the beast a little early. But yeah, Perfect Image. I don't know exactly what Sony's reasoning is here. It has something to do with some type of control, though. I do know that Sony wants these players to have a PSN account. Why? Sony will not say. So all we can do is speculate until they do say. And maybe they're going to say it to their shareholders tomorrow. As for you're saying, why is Xbox closing studios while Sony maybe is creating one? Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, man. I mean, I know why Xbox is closing their studios, but I'm a little bit surprised that Sony created a new studio that we don't know about yet. I'm guessing they just have a lot of faith in it. That's all I can guess. And they really believe it could be a long-term, like a really good long-term investment. And then Perfect Image, you're saying the PS5, 46.6 million units worldwide, forecast 18 million. Mullen, you're saying MBG, you are heavily underestimating the PlayStation overlay. That's their solution to avoid a launcher on an alternate window. The overlay is a genius play. It integrated into the game. You will see it with Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, maybe I need to see more of how this is going to play out. Yeah, I just think Sony's tackling a different beast with PC. PC is very established, you know? And it seems like every video game publisher and platform holder has went over to PC and they had like something in mind where it's like, I think this is how we're going to do this. And then they find out, well, that's not really working. When PlayStation says, you come here, you come to us, then yeah, I mean, you go to them. It's their house, so to speak, their rules. You choose to follow them if you want or not. Nobody's forcing you. But if Sony's going to go to somebody else, go to their house. You know, it's like, well, can't be walking in and being like, here's how this is going to play out. Son of a bitch. Like Sony going up to PC players like, you fucking son of a bitch. You will make a PSN. You will play by my rules. Fucking PC players losing their absolute fucking minds, bro. We'll see. We'll see. We didn't go to them, though, MBG. They came to us. Well, that's not, dude, that's what's so funny to me is like, Sony needs to figure their shit out, dude. Like, what is it? Sony thinks they're going to. Well, I don't know what Sony thinks. If I knew exactly what Sony thinks, I'd be telling you. It seems to me that Sony, as I've said, they have this idea where it's like, we're going to play both fields at the same time. We're going to play the one field where we are in control and we have our own thing going on. But then we're going to play the other field and we're not going to be in control. and we're going to learn how to play this game over here. It's like, I don't think you're going to do both at once. Nobody has done that because nobody can do that because it doesn't make any sense. You know, you can't treat one group better than the other, but if you treat them all equally, that's not going to work either because these are not equal playing fields. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's just I just find it fucking bizarre. Like, does Sony not know this? Like, how do I know this? How do you know this? How do all of us know this? But Sony's just like seemingly, they might, that's the thing. They might know it. They're just playing coy, you know? MBGI say artificially increase MAUs that don't need to pay shit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, everybody has their, everybody makes their own decisions, like I've said. Everybody decides what's best for them, what they're okay with, what they're not okay with. And I think Sony maybe can achieve a slight balance, but a very it's a very delicate balance. So maybe they can appeal to all of that. But the only way they're going to be able to do that is by being very clear in their communication and not saying one thing and doing another, or doing things without explaining why they're doing them. I mean, I guess they can do that if they want, but knowing Sony, though, they ain't going to say shit. I'll be honest with you, dude. Sony ain't going to say shit. Sony hates everybody. Sony hates everybody. They hate gaming. I mean, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? The executives, they're like, we don't want to deal with this shit. We just want more money, damn it. Just give us more money, please. We'll see what happens, though. I will say the next, I think, 2 weeks in particular, next 2-3 weeks are going to be pretty interesting. Certainly. Look, let's be real here. Sony needs money. Their single player games are not pulling in the money they need. If they were smart, put their games day and date on Xbox, also on their service. I don't know. It would be smart to put their games day and date on Xbox. But I'll be real with you, man. I just realized your name is Xbox is King. Holy shit! No wonder why you said that. Come on, that has to be a troll. I didn't read the name at first. That's so funny. You would, Phil? Is that you? Xbox is King. Is that Phil Spencer? Come on, Sony. Put all your games on your service. Put them all on Xbox. Your games ain't selling. Hit that like button, by the way, guys. Yes, thank you, ACM. Hit that like button. It's getting really hot in here, man. It was like cold out earlier. Hold on. Leia is so dumb, dude. Leia is so dumb sometimes. She's sitting there crying at the door, like, please let me in. Let me in. I open the door. She just sits there and stares. Like, are you coming in or not? Anyway, Kane Z7. Hold on, really quick. Severin Evans has serious undertone here. Severin Evans wants to fight. MBG. We didn't. I'm giving you like this intense voice. We didn't ask you for your help. It wasn't a problem on the console. We assumed you didn't care at all. But why do you guys side with corporation over your fellow gamers? Why is this a thing? Oh, God. You fucking do some anime shit here, bro. Well, I wouldn't say it's so much siding with a corporation over a fellow gamer. I think it's a bit intense. I think that's very much like a us against them type mentality. Well, I can't speak for anybody but myself, and I think it just comes down to how different people are. Where it's like all right, let me simplify this because I feel like there's like 10 different directions I want to run. This is a good question. Oh, I missed the first comment. Go back to the one before. Hold on. Let me see. Also, I have a bone to pick with you, my friend. Remember when you told us PC players to go screech to somebody who gives it? Yeah. Screech to somebody who gives a damn. We aren't asking console players for help. Most of you mocked us. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's fair. I remember saying that. And that's what I mean is like there's too much of the us versus them that I get caught up in that too. I'm not innocent completely, and I'm not trying to pretend I'm innocent. It's just I see shit myself sometimes, and I think the reality is everybody gets triggered. I think everybody gets triggered, and sometimes we just like vent it out, but to strangers on the internet that we don't know in person, and I think that's what happens, and it just creates like kind of this cycle and this loop. But hold on, Severin, I'm going to answer your question. I need to answer what KaneZ7 here said first, though. He says, tagged you on XMBG about the Square stuff. Don't know if we're still talking about it. I guess we did kind of move on, but I do appreciate that, Kane. Let me see if I can find where you tagged me here. Oh, man. I have too many. Kane, could you also give me your I got a lot of tags here. Oh, God. If you could give me your name as well so I can sort that out. Kane, I'll try to look. Oh, it is KaneZ7 on there too. Okay. I wonder where it's showing up. Dude, why can't I find where you tagged me? How long ago did you do this? It's nightmare mode here because I did go back to Twitter and it's been okay. Not ideal, but KG7, I'm sorry, man. I'm having a fucking real struggle right now. I apologize, man. In a little bit, I'll go check again. I don't know what sometimes I don't know what it is. I've used Twitter for years. You would think I would be a master of how to navigate Twitter, and like for some reason, I still struggle sometimes, and I just like can't find shit that I'm looking for. So, Severin, I want to answer your question because I understand what you said, where you're like, you're a PC player. That's your preferred place to play, and the thing you said specifically, where you're like, PlayStation players like attacked us or whatever. Not every PlayStation player did, but some people online maybe did. Just like I know that the people who attack me, I know it's not all PC players. It's not all Xbox players. I know that. Um, but just to speak to this whole idea of like why defend it, like why side with a corporation? Well, I think there's like psychology here at play that needs to be maybe looked into a little bit further to get a better understanding. Where it's like for me, and I'm not speaking for anybody else. Okay, I don't know why any other person on this planet buys a PlayStation console and chooses to play on it. I can infer many reasons why, but I'm only going to speak to my reasons. And here's what it comes down to. Going all the way back, I grew up playing on console. That's what I know. That's what I knew, and that's still what I know. Where for me, I was introduced to gaming with a console plugged into a TV and a controller in my hand. And as I got older and I continued to game, that's how it stayed. Console, under a TV, controller in my hand. And there's just been an evolution of that. And at certain points, I became, I believe it or not, I did dabble into PC gaming a little bit when I was very young with very, very, God, man, you talk like Windows 98 or some shit. It's like way back. And I was playing like some things on PC, but even back then, it just didn't hit me the same way. I was literally playing some games on PC and I'm like, I prefer the console. I know it sounds crazy, but even at that age, like I kind of knew, like this isn't how I just don't like sitting here with a mouse and a keyboard. I'm good. I'll go back to my little kitty console where I feel safe. But I stuck with console throughout all the years. And as I got older, became more aware of how big of a deal PC gaming is. I've dabbled in a little bit of PC gaming here and there, and I never like hated it or anything. I just always realized that I just like the console. And, looking at where I am now, the best answer I could give is like, why do I still prefer console? And I see, well, I guess I see a lot of it because of my position here on the internet, but I see people sometimes talk about it like, dude, like this is why PC's better. And you could do this, you could do that, you could save money here, you could save money there, and blah, and it's fine. I don't have a problem with any of that, but it's just for some reason I just am like, that's cool, but I still like the console. I don't know that there's really any good explanation, is what I'm trying to say. So like when I continue to support the console and game on the console, and even though I do pay for PlayStation Plus and I play my multiplayer games on console, and I know that like, people will point out like, bro, you can download mods on PC, you can customize your rig on PC, you can mess with more settings on PC, you don't have to pay for multiplayer on PC. It's like, I get all that. And that's great, cool, but for some reason, I don't know. And I know that it's easy, and I'm not saying this is you, Severin. I'm not saying this is you, but there are people out there where they're like, okay, well, that makes you a corporate shill. Like you're a console fanboy and a corporate shill. And that bothers me a little bit because it's like, well, not really, because I can identify some of the things that Sony does that are like not ideal. But when people are like, well, then here's what you got to do. You got to throw out your console or sell your console and go to PC. And it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. So then what people do is they basically determine, well, then you're saying you're okay with it. And it's like, well, that's where an awkward middle ground exists, where it's like, I do believe that at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words, which is ironic considering what I do here is talk. But I do believe that. And I understand that at the end of the day, the way I participate in the PlayStation ecosystem very much communicates to Sony, okay, you got my money. And I know that that's all that's going to matter to you. But I also understand that in me doing that, it does communicate that message to people looking in on that so you're saying you're okay with it. You're okay with it enough to continue to be there and support it and engage with it. And the answer is yes. And that's why it's like, if people want to label me as a PlayStation fanboy and say, well, that's just what you are, and you're obsessed with PlayStation, or then yeah, I have no choice but to embrace that, because even though I'm listing some things that are not ideal with PlayStation, there are many things I do like about PlayStation, and I understand that. I guess it's not a matter of understanding. I've come to the conclusion that if I try to sit down and tell a PC player, here's why I prefer console, I know that that's not going to speak to them, because they've already made up their mind. They like PC better. Just like they know that if they try to tell me, here's why I'm on PC, they know it's not going to matter to me because I've already made my decision. And so I get what you're saying at the end of the day, Severin. No, I get what you're saying, Severin. I totally do. And I'm trying to get away from that as much as I can, because it's getting really bad. I feel like it has actually become the worst it's ever been, where I feel like in the past it wasn't this serious, or maybe serious isn't the right term to use, but I feel like in the past there was always this kind of air of, like, it was easier for people to just maybe laugh it off and be like, whatever, like, it's just video games. Play what you want, enjoy what you want. It's not that serious. We're all just gaming here. But I think as the industry has become more volatile, like as the industry has become more fraught with bad news and bad things happening, it does seem like there's like more intensity coming with all of this. And it's becoming, I think, harder for certain people, for certain reasons, to just be able to take a step back and realize, like, you know what? It's just games. It's not that serious. Like, these are all just people trying to enjoy games and interact with them. And I can have my opinions, I can have my thoughts, I can have my feelings, I can express them, but it's not really worth all this. It has gotten very intense. And again, I'm not saying I'm innocent in all that. I certainly have had my moments as well. But the reason, one of the reasons why I'm trying to get away from that us versus them mentality is because I do think that it is no longer funning. Like, I'm not saying it was necessarily fun in games, but I think it is more serious now. I think it has to be, because things are starting to kind of collapse in some ways. Certain areas of the video game industry are fucking collapsing. Uh-oh. VGC is reporting more layoffs at Sony. Oh, shit. Here we go. I'll go check that in a second. Let me just finish my little rant here. Certain things are collapsing. And I will say that I think what I've enjoyed most about console gaming over the years, and I'm sure there are some people who would judge me for this, what I've enjoyed most, I think, is just the simplicity of it. And maybe I do pay a little bit more to maintain that, where it feels simple but unified. Does that make sense? It's not just the simplicity. It feels like the unification of, like, everything feels like it is a closed garden, or at least with consoles, it was always a closed garden. And I have to admit, like, I've always liked the way that made me feel, where it's like, not that I felt better than other people. Never. I never felt that way. But I always liked that feeling of, like, okay, this is like its own area with its own unique set of shit. Cool. Like, let's see what it's all about. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist on PC. It does, but in a very different way. It's like PC feels to me more like you have everything and you can just kind of take what you want and put it all together. And I get, like, I think for people out there, like, that sounds like the best. I could totally understand that. It's like, yeah, dude. But I don't know. There's just something appealing to me about showing up to a place, to a platform where they're like, listen, this is what we made. And everything we do here is in an effort to keep you here and to get you to stay here. And I don't know. There's something super. I was like, okay, well then, what do you got? Show me. And that's why I think things are getting really weird in the console space, because that energy is slowly eroding and leaving. Severin, you're saying I will leave it at this, MBG, and then I will say no more about this. Next time PlayStation does something to try to screw you guys over, come to us. I guarantee you will get help from the PC community. Severin Evans is extending the olive branch. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm sure Sony's days of making certain decisions that upset certain portions of the community are not over. And we'll see, man, because it'll be fascinating to see how Sony continues to embrace PC. But I just hope that Sony, I just hope that they realize the more they go beyond their own ecosystem that they established, it's going to likely lead to people asking more questions, more eyebrows being raised. If not that, it will lead to more anger. And the anger will come maybe from PC players because they're realizing, like, dude, Sony's not they didn't get the memo that this isn't the console space and they can't operate like it is. And they're just two different lanes, dude. You know what I mean? They are just two different lanes. And again, I can only speak for me. I know I've taken my shots before, but at the end of the day, man, like I'm not a total pacifist, but I really am not looking to get into arguments with people because I don't see a point in it. Because I am a believer that everybody's going to gravitate towards what they want to gravitate towards for their own reasons. As we are all in our own lanes, I'm more and more coming to the conclusion. Like I don't know that I want to go in somebody else's lane and try to tell them. And I get it because it's like, well, MBG, didn't you just do a stream about Xbox and talking about that? And it's like, yeah. And I think most people understand that, like, man, it's kind of hard not to acknowledge this because it's like, shit, dude, this is kind of over, you know? Like, if anything, it's almost like a kind of, I don't say a mourning. That's a bit too intense, but just kind of acknowledging that, like, shit, this has truly come to it, what seems to be an end point, unless something changes overnight tomorrow or next month. But right now, it seems like we've come to an end point where the competition between the PlayStation and Xbox consoles is really over. And now we are seeing the transformation of these businesses, of these companies. And in the midst of all that, PC is kind of in the middle. And what once was what felt like all these distinct lanes, you know, saying like stay in your lane. It feels like now there's all these different merge lanes and everybody's merging over and we don't even know. You know, even fucking Sony doesn't even know what lane they're in anymore. It's crazy. And I think that level of volatility with very passionate fans and passionate user bases, you mix those two together, I think that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of emotion, myself included. Yeah, no, you're right about that, Severin. You're right. Sony entered the PC lane. Absolutely. That I agree with. PC players, I think they made it pretty clear. Like for the ones that don't buy console. I think that they made it pretty clear, like, yeah, Sony, that's cool. You do you, bro. We're fine here. And that's where Sony decided that they're not okay with that. Sony did what Microsoft did, and they're like, well, we got to go over there. They're not coming here. We got to go over there. And that's where I think things are getting messy because it's like Sony has spent their entire gaming life, so to speak, operating in a specific console space that they had control over. And the moment that they decided we're going to go in that lane, I think they are not prepared. Where it's like, do you know what's going on in this lane? Do you know which direction the traffic's flowing in? Do you know what the fucking speed limit is? Because if not, you're going to get fucked up. You know? The lane that Sony has been in this entire time is the one they built, the one that they paved, and they have complete control over it. And the moment that they decided to go in a different lane, they're learning, just like every other publisher, and even Microsoft is learning that, like, it's not going to work out the way you think because you didn't pave this lane. You didn't pave this lane. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to my rant. Josh Z says you were absolutely preaching some gaming gospel a couple of streams ago, and you were absolutely right. Microsoft has never respected the craft of game development. Yeah, that was hard not to get involved in, because even though I do feel like that is me kind of staying in my lane a little bit, because it's like, dude, I've been following Xbox for years. I was a big part of the ecosystem for years. And more importantly, I've always felt that what Microsoft does in the console space has a direct impact on how PlayStation reacts in the console space. And that absolutely matters to me as well. And I saw that little video pop up yesterday about how Microsoft had passed on GTA 3. They passed on it, dude. And it ended up because, like, they basically handed it over to Sony as an exclusive because they didn't believe in it. And I'm like, oh my God. That, I know it's hindsight 2020 and everything, but holy shit, that's cursed. That's cursed. But Josh, I do appreciate that, man. I don't know. I it's hard to delve too deep into the psychology of it, because there's another big aspect to all of this that I haven't talked about, and I'm not going to go into because it gets too deep, man. You're talking about people associating their identity, whether it be me, right? Like, I'm here, I'm MBG, but what strangers online with their profile pictures and their names and whatever it might be, people do, to a certain extent, associate their identity with this stuff. And a lot of that comes from passion. Like, I associate some of my identity with PlayStation because I grew up playing PlayStation. I associate some of my identity with Metal Gear because Metal Gear had a profound impact on the way I view life, as crazy as that sounds. And this is normal. This comes from a place of passion, but it can also become intense because once you get your own personal identity, or what you deem to be your identity, and things that make you involved, then it feels like it becomes personal. And that's, I think, very hard for a lot of people to step away from and realize that, it really isn't personal most of the time. Chris Brown, you're saying read Nintendo. You read Nintendo will remaster Breath of the Wild for the Switch 2. Yeah, probably. Nintendo's no stranger to remasters and remakes. I just checked VGC. I'm not seeing anything about layoffs at Sony. Unless, did they not post the article yet on their actual website? Oh, were you talking? I think you were confused. It's not. Oh, yeah. It's not Sony. Yeah. Square. Maybe I read that wrong. My bad. I thought you were saying Sony. Or maybe they did say Sony and they meant Square Enix. Oh, man. Okay. I don't think I have much longer. I don't have much more time, guys. I'm going to have to start talking like this for the rest of the stream. Square Enix confirms US EU layoffs as part of restructuring. Square Enix is set to make an unconfirmed number of layoffs as part of an ongoing company restructuring, it told staff in an internal meeting on Monday. VGC understands. The scale of the layoffs wasn't shared, but staff were told that people working in publishing, IT, and Square Enix's collective indie games division will be predominantly affected. Those impacted will be informed this week, staff were told. In the UK, employees will enter into a 1-month consultancy period as per local employment law, while US-based staff could leave their roles before June. Jesus, I can't do it anymore. Following the internal meetings on Monday, many of Square Enix's main Slack channels were locked. This is what BGC was told. So, it's getting bad. It's getting bad out here, boys. It's getting bad. It's getting worse. It's been bad. It's getting worse. When will it stop? Turning into a clicker. When will the bleeding stop? Dude, I feel like my voice has totally transformed. All right. So there was one other main topic, and to be honest, I don't have a whole lot to say about this, but I have to mention it because a lot of you guys were asking me about this yesterday. Oh, holy shit. Let's see if I could do this. It seems like I have about 2.5 hours. All right. We might have to do something a little bit different here. Bear with me. My voice is going. So here's what we're going to do.
Hello, I will speak for MBG. Can you guys hear me?
Zanarkand, dude, I was going to try to type in what you were saying, but I'm like, I can't type your whole name into that chat, bro. Or into that box. Zanarkand, Blitzer, Magneto, Master of Magnetism, MBG's Old Snake. Or Voice's Old Snake. War's changed. Or wait, is that what he says? War's changed? I can't, dude, I feel like I don't sound like him at all.
So did you guys hear about this rumored LEGO Horizon game? Tom Henderson says there is a LEGO Horizon trailer ready to go, maybe for the showcase. But no one seems to know if it's a LEGO set or an actual LEGO game.
What is this? Jakey Steve. Oh my God, dude. My voice is going. Use Tangia MBG. You can even upload your own voice. Hold on, let me look into this. Does this cost money? Supercharge. Oh, this is interesting. I might have to look into this. Yeah, I'll keep this up and I'll see if I can oh man. I'll see if I can look into it. Use my own voice. It sounds dangerous. Uh-oh.
Well, that was the last topic, the Lego Horizon thing. Anyway, I think this is where I will have to end the stream. I do have a video going out afterwards though. I should have recorded the entire video like this. Xanarkin says, MBG you have to pay for commercial account for uploading voice as you'll be using for YouTube not personal use. Xanarkin, thank you for the super chat bro. RU46N2 Ray member, 2 years, he can totally cop and paste the super chats. Desert Storm Andy, this is what happens when Sony doesn't have a showcase this type of content. Wow. Member, 6 months, Sony save us. Chat A member, 6 months, MBG so happy you're finally going through puberty.
Hey guys. RU46N2 REY member, 2 years, MBG has taken a vow of silence until Sony announces a showcase. Do you guys recognize this voice? This is the same lady that does the state of plays.
So what's up with Xbox these days, guys?
Xbox sucks dog. Where is that fucking showcase? Times 7 drops a 5 bomb in this bitch.
It's Kane. It's Kane Z7, man. Kane Z7, bro. Oh, man. Oh,
Kind Evan drops 5 memberships fascism.
dude, it's still learning, man. I typed in for shizzle. Oh, dude, I like can't talk. Damn it. But Kane, dude, thank you, bro. I'm trying. I should give Boss an AI voice. I was trying to like rest for a little bit, but if Boss had a voice, Kane, thank you for that, man. It's weird. They have not a whole lot. They have like 4 people here. Let's see. Let me test this one out.
If someone drops a 50% bomb, I'll give you the keys to a new Lamborghini.
A 50% bomb. Please drop a 50% bomb, guys. I don't know why it said 50%. There's not many voices on this one. Let me see if I can find other ones. Let me see.
Hello, guys. What's up? This is Boss here. I got snacks today, even though we didn't hit the 25 member goal. But that's how it should be. I am the best. I deserve snacks.
But that's how it should be. I am the best. I deserve snacks.
But that's how it should be. I am the best. I deserve snacks.
What is that? What the
What the fuck is this voice, though?
What the fuck is this voice, though? This is Boss. Does this sound like it could be Boss? I woke up today and I made it clear. I get those snacks even if we don't hit the goal today. I love annoying the shit out of MBG when he is streaming. Just getting in his way, being in front of the camera, trying to bite the wires and jump on his desk. He suspects I know exactly what I'm doing, and he is right. But I know you guys love it. I will continue to be this way, not for me, but for you.
Oh man. we got Boss a voice. We really did. I lost my voice today. Boss got his, bro. Oh man.
Turns
out Boss is Asian, actually. Boss is Japanese. That's crazy, dude.
人生は一度きり、後悔しないように最善を尽くそう。
What? Hold on. That's weird. Okay, so I typed in, dude, I typed in English. I'm waiting for that Sony or that Sony PlayStation showcase. Mark Cerny save us. Apparently the way it translated is God has given you one face and you make yourself another. What? Excuse me? No, I think something glitched out. Boss, can you say something deep for us? Boss, I want you to say something deep.
人生は一度きり、後悔しないように最善を尽くそう。
Damn, that was deep. Anything else?
人生は一度きり。
All right, now I think it's all fucked up now. Hold on. I think I broke it.
後悔しない。
Yeah, I broke it. Oops.
The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be the beginning.
Holy shit, boss. That was deep. Well, what are we all, dude? I love the people that are just joining. They're like, what has happened, man? The meds kicked in. I don't know what I'm doing.
The world is round, and the place
No, come on.
which may seem like
I think it's broken, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's broken or what. Hold on. It's what? Oh my god, I'm getting annoyed. This was too good. Oh shit. My bad. I reached the limit. I'm sorry. I was sitting here wondering like why isn't it working? I reached the limit. Corey, hold on. Hold on. I gotta see
Corey Landega member, 1 year, 10 Canadian dollars. My uncle was playing some game on the Intellivision, so long ago I can't remember, then I played Sonic on the Master System, then I got really addicted to SNES, once I got PS1 I've been a Sony guy since.
Damn, Corey. I think you're a little bit older than me because I think I started playing the PS1. How old was I? I must have been like 4 years old or something. So I was born in 1993. PS1 came out in 1994. Yeah, I think I started playing the PS1 in like 1998. I dabbled with the Nintendo 64. I played a little bit of the SNES, but yeah. Need to create a stream called Boss Talk. Dude, yeah, you're 38. Oh, okay. So you're 8 years older than me. Oh shit. I just quit out of my stream. Hold on. I like that one voice I had for Boss, but it apparently I reached the limit of what I could do for like free texts. I think I'd have to pay for more. Right, you're 44. Dude, I typed up this whole thing about Boss contemplating out the window. Let me see if I can
This is Boss again.
that's Boss's voice. Hellbound in 42. Dude,
When I sit at that window, it may seem like I'm thinking deep thoughts, but I'm really just thinking about getting more treats.
dude, oh man, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Oh man, please. Please. I don't I'm not finding it. Oh, no, I can't do that. I only get 3 free tries. Damn it. Damn it. Um so, mm, I'm so disappointed. I don't know if this is going to work or not. It has to convert it. Oh, God. All right. Yeah. I don't think it's going to work. The dream lives. Oh, you know what? Dude, that's a good idea too. Hold on. Okay, that's not going to work. All right. Let's see if that one works. Thank you guys for just hanging out with me, by the way. I know I've been hardly talking. I can only do so much. Fake Man Bear Pig, member for 7 months, as I'm so glad to be part of this community again. Tried forever to get gifted a membership. Was not happening, so I just decided to start supporting you again because you've been my guy since the PS5 launch. Thank you so much, Fake Man Bear Pig. I apologize that I can't have more emphasis on the thank you, more excitement, but it means a lot, bro. It does. A lot of you guys I know support the channel in any way you can, but especially those of you who actually go above and beyond and support directly. It really does mean a lot. I literally couldn't do it without you. All right, let's see if this worked.
Hello Goose, it's me Boss here. I want to thank everyone for supporting my snack addiction.
Oh my God, what the fuck was that? Holy shit, that was absolutely cursed. That was horrifically cursed. Walmart Kratos.
Hello Goose, it's me Boss here. I want to thank everyone for supporting my snack addiction.
Oh man. Oh, that's I don't like that. I don't like that at all. All right, hold on. I got one more. All right, I got to give it a minute to generate. We'll see if this one works. Snacks now. Boy. I wonder boy. I feel like I could do a better Kratos voice now. Now that my voice is all messed up. Yeah, I'm just going to fuck around with my voice since it's all messed up. All right, give me a Kratos line. Somebody give me a line. Line. Get in the boat, boy. Get in the boat, boy. That work? I feel like my voice can go a little bit deeper than it normally does. Read it, boy. Read it, boy. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I can't do it, dude. I'm losing it. Be better. We've gone completely off the fucking rails, dude. Here we go. All right. Wait. It didn't work. Wait, here we go. Yo, is somebody else doing this? Hold on. What? Who did this? I know somebody here did this. Somebody here knows which website I'm on. They know which soundboard I'm on, and they made a soundbite. Who did this? I know somebody here did this because I just generated a soundbite. Somebody else did too. They had to have been. Because listen, this is the one I made.
It's Boss here. I want to thank you for supporting my snack addiction.
But dude, immediately after I made that soundbite, there's another one in front of it that says this, which means somebody just generated this.
It's lit here. Just wanted to shout out to all the homies who feel my constant craving for snacks. Appreciate your support.
Appreciate your support. Who made that? I didn't make that. Somebody's watching and they did that. That's amazing. That's so funny, dude. That's classic Kratos voice. Dude, what other voices do they have? Try this one. It hears everything. Well, I feel like I'm gonna have to leave a comment on this stream when it's finished. Basically, say like, I don't know what time did we start doing this? It was like a half hour ago, around like the 2.5 hour mark, 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm gonna let people know like it just goes totally off the fucking rails. If you're coming here to hear about gaming, you're gonna want to skip out that last section. I mean, yeah, I know Devil Shooter does the timestamps, 2 hour and 23 mark. Thank you. Because this is like particularly off the rails. This is not normal off the rails.
Sony is going to announce that showcase and terminate the competition for good. Mark Sony will save us all.
Need to clip them and make them shorts. I should. So, yeah, some of these would be pretty damn funny. But you know what's crazy though is like we rarely ever do this. I feel like if I put out a short and it did well, any new subs, they'd be like, man, I have a high expectation for some ridiculous nonsense going on. I think it was my voice giving out at like the 2 hour and 20 minute mark that really just made me go down this path here. Get to discerning now. I can't even do the Arnold voice. I'm getting scared, guys. I gotta be like, I'm getting fucking scared. Sony's gonna announce a showcase this week, and my voice is not gonna be available. And I'm actually gonna have to do an AI during the whole showcase. Corey, every time I read you like doing yelling Arnold voice, I want to read it so bad in that voice, but I can't. Let the games do the talking. Oh. I feel like I'm trying too hard to be funny, and I'm just like typing stupid shit. Have Mrs. MBG do my voice. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's my voice is healing. I'm recovering. It's that I can't talk for hours straight. You know, like it's my voice is not 100% strength. So it's like because it's still recovering, I can still talk and I could talk for a good amount of time. But once I go past a certain threshold, I don't think it's making it worse. It's just this is all you got for today, man. You know, Helly knows the cure. Tea with lemon and honey. I did drink tea earlier. I've been drinking a shit ton of tea. I should probably try some lemon and honey though. Actually, I do have some honey as well. I took that separately. I've been trying everything. I've been using cough drops, taking a little bit of ibuprofen to just. I mean, I don't know if that's helping or not. I've been I believe it or not, I have been resting my voice. Or rest. I will say the rest part has not been going well. Everybody's sick, and it's very broken sleep. Not that I'm complaining, it's normal. It sucks, but jabbering and interesting ain't resting. Yeah, I know. I know. Well, I'm curious to see how I am when I wake up tomorrow. I mean, I keep hoping I'm just gonna wake up and be 100%, but I think I still got a couple more days. I feel like tomorrow is going to be a really important stream, though. To be honest, yeah, Sony's doing their earnings tomorrow, and I'm very interested in going over that. So maybe I'll just do the whole stream with the AI voice. Just imagine we get the dream showcase, and MG loses his mind and wants to scream, but his voice is already gone. I'm just like, ah. Let me see if this finished up. No, not yet. AI can read numbers. No. Tomorrow we should be doing a members lounge. As long as my voice holds up, we should be doing a members lounge tomorrow. I do have a video going out after the stream, just covering the topics. Maybe it'll announce the showcase for Thursday. Well, if the announcement for the showcase doesn't happen today and it doesn't happen tomorrow, I don't think it's happening this week. Sony usually gives at least 5 days in advance for a showcase. For a state of play, they'll do it like a day or two before. But for a showcase, they usually give it more time. They want more viewership. They want more people to know. IP Gaming got his membership back. Love to see it, man. Love to see it. Good stuff. I wonder when you got that, actually. Maybe it was yesterday? Yeah, I mean, I feel like the showcase announcement, truthfully, could drop at any moment. And I think the announcement could happen this week. It could. I'm just trying not to get too ahead of myself. Dude, I don't know what we got sick with, man. But I am shocked at how fucked up it's making all of us. Mrs. MBG was messed up too. Little MBG's messed. I don't know what the hell we call it. Dude, when I first realized I was getting sick, I was like, oh, it'll just be like a 24-hour bug. Like, no, dude. Sounds like a common cold. It could be. Common colds can fuck you up. Let's see if this soundbite finished yet. Okay, it's not I don't know if this last soundbite I'm trying to do is going to work or not. The mold. Yeah, it's the mold. My God, you guys will never let that go. You don't get out that much, Hal. No, I do go out. See, did you hear my voice just cracked there? I do go out. Not a lot, but I do. And, family members and stuff. It's not the fucking mold, guys. There's I've been cleaning out everything. Well, not the past couple days, but I've been cleaning. It turns out so I just want to, I'll update you guys. Remember I told you guys I got that section. I told you guys I got that area of my basement with those cardboard boxes. It turns out that the cardboard boxes are not on the floor. They're on top of totes, plastic totes. So that was a huge relief because it made me realize that, okay, I don't think they got, still got to clean it out though, but a lot better. The situation is much better than what I made it sound like, okay? You guys were just scaring me. That's all you guys want to do. You guys just want to scare me. Leave me alone. You need to sanitize your home. You've gotten sick too often the past few months. Tell me about it, bro. I've been sanitizing my home. I've been cleaning the shit out of the house lately. I sound much worse than I feel. I feel okay. Like I have energy. It's just like my vocal cords that are fucked up, which is annoying. Like literally, it feels like this virus just attacked my vocal cords. The one thing I really need to do this. But gaming, oh my God. Gaming Survivor he can't let this go. He won't let it go.
Hello, it is me, the new CEO of PlayStation. My first major announcement is I will personally terminate the Pro console and its leader Phil Spencer.
That's the one, baby. That's the fucking one. That is the one.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's the best. All right. Let me go just check on some stuff, see if any news has come out. And doesn't look like it. Yeah, I think this is where I'm going to bring this to an end. Let me see. Resident Evil 1 remake is in development. Well, damn. All right. Well, let's see. We're nearly at the 3 hour and 15-minute mark. You're nothing but mold. So I got the parasite from MGS5 basically. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Give us a clicker screech. Yeah, I don't think so. All right. Well, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this stream though, guys. I'm going to bring it to a close here cuz I think I went as far as I can go. I'm going to rest my voice for the rest of the day though. Like I said, I will have a video going out probably in the next 45 minutes. Just a quick recap of the 3 topics that I discussed today, but in a video form. And yeah, that pretty much does it. Before I head out, though, guys, I do want to thank everybody for your continued support. You got your helmet for the members lounges IP. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you guys for the support. Anybody who dropped a super chat, anybody who dropped a membership gift, really appreciate it. Could not do what I do here without you guys, without that support. So, means everything. Also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter for doing the timestamps. Devil, thank you so much, man. If you guys see him in the comments, show him some love, give him some thanks. I know he really appreciates that. Yeah, I'm going to go get some hot tea, put a little bit of honey in it, maybe gargle with some warm water and salt as well. Do everything I can and try not, and as Corey said, try to shut the fuck up for a little while because I need to get over this shit. All right, guys, that does it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hit that like button on your way out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, everyone.